Good morning, Softball America. Let me slowly turn the music down because the mayhem is here. Hello, Gray Robertson, Tara Henry. Sorry, I've done so many things with Tom in the last 3 days, including sit in a booth for 5 hours and watch every other softball game but the one we were supposed to call. Gray and Tara are here. Good morning, Softball America. Postseason. Tara, stop me. How are you?
Good morning, Gray. That's okay. Tom, Tara, same kind of, very close, both your partners. I'm great. I can't wait to talk softball and really talk about what happened this past weekend. So much went on, and we've got a full slate for everybody. We've got two guests today, which is fantastic. So I'm excited about that. And I know we've just got a ton to kind of go over, so we can get into it. But good morning, everybody. Please let us know where you're tuning in from. I love hearing where you all are across the country and the world. So let us know where you are tuning in from.
Yeah, please hit us up in the chat. We've got Kate Drohan and Emily Kennedy joining the show today. We're going to do top 25 Q&A. No bracket packeting. I'm not sure when we're going to do it this week, but we will do it at some point. I'm trying to decide, Tara, if it would be better to let a couple of the Tuesday games happen so that we have a little bit more data and then dive into it, because it's all going to change very quickly. So stay tuned. There might be a couple bracket packet shows this week. Who's to say?
I don't know. We could do them probably live from the SEC tournament in Athens, maybe at a restaurant.
Maybe. I mean,
is
Tom
there an
and
Olive
I.
Garden? Olive Garden? Chili's?
There's surely an Olive Garden somewhere in the Athens tri-state area or whatever. Let's say hello to some friends. Sarah is up in here. Good morning, friends. What a wild and crazy weekend of softball. You right. We're going to talk about it. Carol Luca. Morning, y'all. Gray, sorry the weather didn't cooperate. It did not. But hope you enjoyed the weekend in the Palmetto State. It was fine. Listen to the Out of the Box podcast for more takes on. We picked a bad restaurant. It was a whole thing. But the Divine Cinnamon Roll Deli, exquisite. And we do have a box of them courtesy of a listener of Out of the Box who brought us some that we will be taking to Athens. Very excited about that. Roach, good morning. One of my favorites. Cheyenne, good morning to the tenacious, thriving, thorough, terrific Tara and the gleaming, Cheyenne. Gregarious, gleeful, grand Gray. That is me. Julie, good morning, Tara and Gray. It's postseason. Let's go. Keith, good morning, all. Ready for the postseason. Thank you for all your input, Gray and Tara. Jeremy, Roll Tide, best time of the year with conference tournaments starting. Roach tuning in on finals week. Fang says good morning. Oh my gosh, we got
good morning.
Smosh Josh, go Ducks from Eugene. Interesting week for Oregon. Won the Big Ten, but kind of hurt themselves seeding wise. Again, bracket packet later this week, but
yep,
it was interesting. Lauren, hi from Tucson. So sad to see Kennedy Harp out with injury. So sad. That was something that Florida State officially announced today, Tara, that Kennedy Harp is out for the year, which is a tough blow for her, a big blow for the Seminoles. Although, they played well this weekend. So it'll be interesting to evaluate that and watch that as the season finishes up.
Yeah, absolutely. Just wishing Kennedy Harp a speedy recovery. Tough news to hear this morning. Florida State made it official that she had suffered a season-ending injury. Just our thoughts are with Kennedy Harp and Florida State. Big loss, but again, I just really feel like that Florida State squad has gone through so much this season. Obviously, with the announcement of Coach Alameda breast cancer, and then the horrific shooting, and now some injuries. That team is galvanized. I was there last week, and we'll talk a little bit about it, but they're still so connected, and they've been through so much together, and just really, really fun to watch play. So I do think that's gonna be something that they can lean on, just being together and really having to go through a lot this season. But really impressed with Florida State, and obviously winning the ACC this past weekend.
Yeah, very impressive showing. Virginia Tech came back and got game 3, but it was after the Noles kind of destroyed them the first two games, big blowouts, including a Jazzy Francic no-hitter. So shout out to the freshman, Jazzy Francic, and all that she did this past weekend. We'll talk about that in just a minute. I want to start, though, with the series that you attended because, you do, Tara, watch softball, you go to the games, and you and Jen Schroeder went on a little road trip down to Gainesville.
Yeah, I jumped in the car from Atlanta, went from Atlanta to Tallahassee. It was a senior spotlight day, which let me tell you, it was so fun, Gray. And I think every program should do this senior spotlight series. There was home run derby. There was a defensive skills challenge. There was a sprint, a race as well. Lonnie put together such a fun program, and there were so many fans there. And little did they know, Michaela Edenfield was also going to receive a golden ticket. Jen Schroeder flew in. And let me tell you, Gray, I've been around a lot of different moments and milestones, and this is right up there at the top, watching her receive this golden ticket. I just think she was, number one, so surprised. She didn't know it was her until Jen said her name, which I couldn't believe. And just her reaction and how much this means to her. And her aunt was there who played softball at Florida State, was a catcher at Florida State. And I know that meant a ton to her. Just the culture, the family, what Florida State is able to build. I still have goosebumps thinking about it, and what a moment for her and a local gal to get a ticket to play professionally, something she never thought she would do. It was incredible. So trip to Tallahassee. I hope every program does a senior showcase with the fans. It was incredible, Gray. Can you imagine you racing Audrey Vandegrift when she's a senior?
Well, I would lose, but we always say like, oh, who's faster? I would love to find out. Audrey Vandegrift will probably win, but I'd love to see the challenge. And real quick, a word on Michaela Edenfield, because I was really, really proud of her. This is a kid that I first met in the FGCL when she redshirted at Florida State. And so this was the summer after her redshirt freshman year, or her true freshman year. And then she was a redshirt freshman the next season. And I was like, oh, okay, Florida State girl. She doesn't have any stats. That's interesting. Can't wait to see her play. Called her first game. It was either the first or the second at bat. Just straight away center field. So much pop. And I'm sitting there, and afterwards I walk up, and I was like, who is this kid? She's pretty good. And she won Breakthrough Player of the Year because, her stats were incredible that summer. And I remember we were all talking at the end of the summer. We were like, that Edenfield, like Lonnie's got something. And she's just gotten steadily better and better and better each and every year. Chase rate much, much lower this season. That was kind of, I think, the one concern going into her senior year about where are her pro prospects, but she's really improved that aspect of her game. And just a really good kid, special kid, creative kid. Many congratulations to Michaela on the golden ticket.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, if you haven't watched any of that video, please go and check it out on the AUSL. It was really, truly a special moment. And how about these golden tickets to close it out? Oh, and there were 6,000 people watching online. I mean, incredible. But how about those 12 golden tickets? And then we also had the draft, which we can get into in a little bit. We might do that on another show. I think a lot of people want to talk about the AUSL.
Are you seeing draft. What I'm seeing?
Yes. I love it, Linda. That's amazing. Okay, so maybe we'll be at Olive Garden this week. Unless you guys can
no, we're not.
unless you suggest a local restaurant, because I saw another comment in there that please don't go to a major chain. If there's a local restaurant, maybe we can maybe I'll call Tony Baldwin. And see
here's an idea. Why don't we call Tony and do it in the new facility?
Okay, well, I'll ask him.
Let's hit up Tony. I know they have the room. I've seen the drone video. Let's do it somewhere. Let's do it somewhere in the new facility.
All right, we'll ask him. We'll get back to you guys. So, yes, FSU, Senior Day, Edenfield, all the things. It was incredible. And hats off to AUSL pulling those off all across the country. Those were really, really fun and something to get everybody excited about. And we will do a bracket challenge for the NCAA bracket challenge, and an AUSL jersey and some tickets to games will be up for grabs there.
Ooh.
So stay tuned.
All right. So then where'd you go, Tara? You do all this in Tallahassee. Then what's next?
Tallahassee. Then jump into the car and drive over to Gainesville for the Florida Oklahoma series, and brought the dog too. Miles was with us the whole time. And just so you know, I don't know if you guys know this, Jen does not like dogs, but
Oh, she does not.
let me tell you, she was okay with Miles. He was perfectly behaved, and she would tell you. I think she would. You can text
This
her right
is
now and
such a
ask her.
miracle weekend. So first off, Jen was here, and then she also was with a dog.
Jen was here. Yes, she was with the dog. So she presented Michaela with a ticket, and then she went to the game with me. So we went to the Florida Oklahoma game. She went to the first game, which was an extra inning affair. The Sooners 15 hits in that first game. Landry again with a completely game victory, 9 innings. Pickering and Parker. Oh, yes, I know. Jen and dogs don't normally go hand in hand, but she was actually pretty good with Miles, who's right here below me. But so we've got Pickering and Parker, first game. Ella Parker, I must say, Gray, if she was healthy this entire year, I don't even know what those. I mean, her numbers are already great, but so impressive at the plate. Oklahoma wins game 1, then Florida comes back and wins game 2 and game 3. And it's a pitch by committee performance with Hammock getting the win, Red or Caitlin Oxley and Ava Brown. So those three get that W. 4 home runs on the day. Taylor Shoemaker, grand slam. Mia Williams hits 1. Reagan Walsh, and then Ava Brown as well. She not only hits that home run, comes in and closes out the game. So win game 2. And then the Gators, they squeak out that series win on Saturday. Just really, really impressed with the Gators and what they've been able to put together. I think we're seeing Keegan Rothrock come back, and it's a good thing for Florida. And the bats have woken up. And then how about Kendra Falvey with those incredible catches? I just can't say enough about Kendra Falvey. And if those of you that missed some of those interviews, we've got them up on YouTube, so you can go and check them out.
Yeah, I just want to say a quick word because our first guest is waiting in the waiting room, and I don't want to stall too much because we do have a major weekend series that we need to talk about. But I was really, really impressed by both teams. I thought it was just a high-level softball series. I thought all 3 games were really fun. I thought you saw the fight from both sides. I thought, considering how good the offenses were, I thought the pitching was pretty good. In some of the bigger moments, there were a couple explosive things, but it wasn't like anyone was getting shredded. It was just good softball. Defense was great. Ella Parker, you're exactly right. I mean, from when I saw her in Tuscaloosa to where she is now, completely different hitter. Pickering still dangerous. Abby Dayton was awesome. I mean,
Agbayani,
yes.
At one point, you couldn't even keep her off the bases.
Yes, and then the Mia Williams home run off the hanging changeup that she got was, man, that was almost over the swamp out there in center field. That thing was crushed. So it was a high-level series, a lot of fun. Credit to both teams. It was really, really exciting, and methinks this is not the last time Florida and Oklahoma will play this year, is all I'll say.
I think that's a pretty safe bet, Gray.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah. Now, there was another series this weekend that went just nuts. It was awesome. I mean, we're sitting there in Columbia, we're doing scoreboard updates, and we go, hold up, what's going on in Los Angeles in game 1? And then game 2 goes off the rails, and then we make it back, and we're watching game 3 yesterday, and it was quite a weekend for the Northwestern Wildcats, traveling all the way out to Westwood and getting the series victory against UCLA, and we got to talk about it with the head coach, Kate Drohan. Hi, Coach. Welcome in. How are you?
Hi. Good morning, everyone. It's great to see you.
Thanks for being here. I think we're just thankful that we could jump on. I know it was a long travel day and a good series win, but just want to ask you, how proud are you of your squad for this weekend win?
Well, I said to him after game 3, I heard from so many people over the course of the weekend from our alums. We had so many alums in this stadium, and so many of our graduates and our boosters. But I've heard from so many people over the weekend just how proud they are of them. And it was just fun to see our team come together like that with our backs against the wall and really put together a weekend that was just a lot of fun to be in the dugout with them.
I'm curious as well, before we get into kind of the minutia of the weekend, overall, do you as a coach have the discussion with your players going into a series like that? Like, hey, this is where we are. This is what we need to do to get in a good spot for the NCAA tournament. Was that something that they were aware of going into this series?
So that's such an interesting question, because literally I have that conversation with myself every year. It's like, okay, how much do we talk about it? How much are they talking about it? So do I need to insert myself in the conversation? How much are their parents talking about it? So it was going into the weekend, we really thought about it in two ways. The first, we knew we needed to at least win one. We knew we needed to do something. And then waking up on Sunday morning with an opportunity to win the series, I'm like, hey, this is a chance for us to really decide right now. I thought that would really move the needle. But another thing, and this was Michelle Gascoigne's idea, her idea was to like treat this weekend as like an experience of this is how we're going to do a super regional, because half of our team hadn't been to a super regional yet. So it's just like, okay, this is how we're going to do it. And this is how we're going to practice it. So let's make it to Sunday. And I thought that was a great approach for our team to have, being on the road, playing such a great opponent.
Tara might be frozen, so I'll take over here. Lauren Boyd was excellent in the booking games in the circle. What made her so effective against that UCLA lineup that's got so much pop 1 through 9?
Hey, she's a competitor. Her ability to stay in the moment and to just throw one pitch at a time. The game never sped up on her. She was really, really tough, and she just did a great job.
Mm-hmm. And the clutch factor as well in game 3, getting those runs late. You're trailing against UCLA. You have to adjust quickly to a new pitcher that you'd seen already that weekend, but who's coming in fresh in that game. What was the conversation like in the dugout to kind of get that rally started late on Sunday?
Well, the neat thing is when that happens late in games, it's contagious. We saw it against Wisconsin the weekend before with Kaylee Avasado with the big walk-off. We had to score 4 in the 7th to win it, and we did. So our team coming off that, it's kind of like, okay, we know how to do this. And so they're able to stay calm in that moment. But it was just like, get a base runner, get another base runner. And so they were able to keep it really simple. And then it felt a lot more doable.
Mm-hmm. So how much confidence does this give you, give the rest of the staff, give the rest of the team going into the Big Ten tournament? Because now, everyone's got to probably feel pretty good, right, after the way this weekend went and getting a chance to attack the postseason.
Well, I think it gives us a clear idea of what this team is all about and what we're capable of. We've been really working to get to this point, and to see that kind of effort, that kind of competitiveness, that kind of just grittiness in those big moments. I think our team's like, oh, this is what it feels like, and this is what we know we're capable of. Call it confidence, call it, whatever you want. But I think this time of year to kind of have that sense of yourself and identity, it's huge.
I think we've got Tara back. Hi, Tara.
Hi, sorry, guys. My Wi-Fi went out.
We missed you.
I missed you guys, too. Well, what did I miss?
Oh, just talking about Lauren Boyd and the Big Ten tournament and, Northwestern balling out this weekend. And, Coach, I got to ask as well, after a weekend like this, the travel, how do you kind of recuperate and get ready for more travel, Big Ten tournament, and then hopefully regionals after that? Like, was this weekend kind of also a warm up in that regard to kind of get everybody used to having to move around a lot?
This is what postseason feels like. And you just have to accept that new normal, and just kind of say, what do I need to get done today? But our team's used to traveling out west. We do it a lot in February. This is the first time we've done it in May. So that's a little bit different. I think our turnaround for the Big Ten tournament, we head to Purdue tomorrow. I think that's going to be the biggest challenge. But, we've been talking to them about recovery a ton, but it's really about like that emotional and mental battery to kind of jump into another eliminations situation, which we really felt like we were in this last weekend too. So, again, I think at that moment, this time of year, you just lean on each other, and when I think about what made us go this weekend, it's like Lauren Saborski, who stepped in behind the plate and had just an a really career-defining weekend. When you have people like that step up this time of year, that's what really makes it go.
That was going to be my question, so I'm glad that I'm glad that you touched on that. I'll ask another one. Just in terms of prepping for UCLA, was there anything that you did offensively prepping for the Bruins that was different than in the past, or was just what you do week in and week out to see those bats come alive?
Not a big adjustment. We just went in there and we went with a really aggressive mindset. We wanted to get on time right from the start, and we wanted to be really aggressive. And Grace Nito, who's our leadoff, she's a senior and has been in the 9-hole her whole career. Just moved her up into the leadoff position this year. She did an unbelievable job setting the tone for us. Just a real gutsy player, and I thought she set the tone with that approach.
Last thing from me, Coach, I also have to ask about your defense, because your infield especially made some really, really impressive plays, especially late on Sunday in Game 3. How important was that piece to kind of have the people make those plays against some of those UCLA batters when it felt like maybe the Bruins had a chance to get some momentum back?
Yeah, I mean, you have to be so steady defensively this time of year. You give one extra out in an inning, and it can change the game, right? And Tony Smith does a really great job of positioning our defense, and we took some chances with some positioning that really paid off. But the infielders made the plays, and they were ready. And it was great to watch, because they knew Lauren Boyer was just going to pitch some ground balls, so they were ready for it. And just to see them really working together with that kind of confidence, it was fun.
Love that. Well, we know you've got loads to do and you're heading out to the tournament. Best of luck this week. I know it's a long week, but we'll be watching them Cardiac Cats.
Thanks. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. We'll see you guys soon.
Absolutely. We'll tell Sydney Suplee you said hello.
Well. Yeah, she's the best. We'll see her this week.
That's right. Kate Drohan from Northwestern joining us here on the pod. Thank you, Coach, and best of luck to Northwestern. What a weekend, man.
Oh, huge.
It was awesome.
Weekend.
The timing of our delays in Columbia was perfect, because we basically just got to pull up OU Florida and Northwestern UCLA and watch all of them. And it was great.
I know you were talking about that Kansas Robinson play when she beat out Caitlin Terry to first. Those are the type of plays that Coach Drohan is talking about. You need those heading into postseason. Those defensive plays matters, and that was huge. Just racing to first, just out. That's just pure hustle and wanting to win a ball game. So just really impressed with Northwestern. The Drohans, I swear, year in and year out, they always put a good squad together, and we're seeing them play really well as we head into postseason and really keep their postseason hopes alive.
All right, a couple more things we need to get to before we do the top 25 Q&A and then talk to Emily Kennedy in just a bit. There was another one in the Big Ten. We have a champion. Oregon has won. But it was... all right, so Michigan State wins Game 1 in Eugene. This is frankly one of the most unexpected results I can remember for a bubble host team in a long time, especially considering that game also would have clinched the Big Ten. A lot of credit to the Spartans for coming out and fighting the way they did. Oregon wins Game 2. Game 3 was all over the place.
Off the rails.
All over the place. And Oregon wins the series. I think Michigan State, their season is over, but I saw some stuff this weekend where I was like, okay, Sharonda's got this thing kind of moving in the right direction if they can get some of these close games worked the other way next season and beyond. But yeah, it was a hard weekend to evaluate Oregon, honestly, because they didn't look great and didn't help their cause in many ways, but they also won the Big Ten. So many congratulations to Coach Lombardi and that team. It's an interesting place to be in. Same with OU losing the series this weekend, but winning the SEC in the process. It's all very odd.
Well, I'm going to be devil's advocate here because they did win the Big Ten. And this is the point in the season. I think we heard Kate Drohan talk about it. The teams are starting to get a little fatigued. And we saw Michigan State put up 4 home runs and really knock Lindsey Grine out of the ball game, right? Who has been stellar all year long. And I'm not this is not a pass by any means for the Ducks because they still won the series, but this is the point in the season where you really have to kind of roll your sleeves up. You've got aches and pains. You're managing injuries. You're managing innings thrown in the circle. So, again, it was a team that had nothing to lose, but Sharonda McDonald heading into next season has got to have some higher spirits there because you did see some run production. And for Oregon, I'm not necessarily concerned. I really am not. I think they went through and won the Big Ten, but we're going to see what that team looks like heading into the tournament, and then we're going to see what Oregon's Ducks we get in the actual NCAA tournament. So I'm not as concerned, but we'll see.
Oregon's got 6 losses and 3 of them are outside the top 100 in the RPI. That's kind of my sticking point. They've risen up against the best teams they've played, which is important, but I'm still just, I don't know, mixed results, mixed reviews, I guess. That's
agree to disagree. Isn't that great when we can do that? We should teach others. Agree to disagree.
If only it were that simple.
Yeah.
We tried.
I'm not concerned, Grace, which is okay.
Yeah. Tennessee, Texas A&M.
And I mean, we'll have Emily on here in a bit, but
yeah.
I mean, initial thoughts. The Aggies are tough, and I think as we get into these late 3-game series, we'll talk about this when we get into the top 25. This is where you have to grind it out and start winning series. We talked to Kate Drohan. Northwestern wins the series. Oregon still won that series against Michigan State. They dropped a game, but for Texas A&M to get this series win, just a big one heading into the SEC tournament. I think back to those. Was it Georgia rainouts that they had?
Georgia A&M, yeah.
Those Georgia rainouts, because everyone was asking about the records and why they'd played less games. I'm like, you think back to those rainouts, and, gosh.
One game at Georgia. Yeah.
I know. Isn't that wild?
Every year in this league, I swear, every year there's one, and it's always super impactful. And this is the one.
That's my biggest takeaway from the weekend. It is that game, the rained out game that could have potentially gotten you an SEC regular season title. Tough.
Also, a lot of TikToks came out of that series too. Just got to say. And one last note here. A lot of props to both teams and Tennessee for getting that series in.
Yes,
they dealt with worse weather than we did in Columbia. And for the most part, they kind of got everything on schedule because they were proactive. So a lot of shout outs to everybody involved for getting that series done, because weather-wise, it probably should not have been played based on the weather.
I know, and I know Amanda Scarborough was bummed out for that series as well. But again, it got in those games to get them in was a feat in itself. And this SEC tournament, I know we're going to preview it, but just this past weekend and as we head into the SEC tournament, there's just so much that can potentially happen, and I'm excited.
All right, should we ask for the top 25 questions? Is it time?
Somebody's tuning in from Australia.
I know. I was about to pop that up, but I'm also pulling up the ranking, so there's only so much I can do at once. We do have an Australian. Hello, Haley T. What a fun name. Hello from Australia. Hi. I'm basically in Australia. I'm in Tuscaloosa. Tara's in Georgia. And we'll be hanging out very soon.
Yeah.
Okay, so send in your questions. Here's the first one I've seen. Well, actually, wait. Oh. I'll read the top 10, and then we'll get to the questions, in case you're just tuning in. So number 1 is Arkansas. Number 2, Texas A&M. 3, Florida State. 4, Oklahoma. 5, Tennessee. 6, Texas. 7, Florida. 8, Oregon. 9, Texas Tech. 10, Clemson. Rest of the poll can be found on the website, just on3.com/softball. It's all there on the Softball America page. But this is the first time ever in a major poll Arkansas has been number 1. I will also be totally forthright. They were not my number 1. I did not have Arkansas at the top of my ballot. I believe I was the only one. I'm okay being on that island. But a lot of credit to the Hogs, who since that two series start in SEC play, the kind of disaster in Oxford against Ole Miss and then getting swept by OU, Arkansas has looked like the best team, the most consistent team, if anything, in the country since then.
I think that's what we've got to kind of go over, Gray, is the most consistent and a team that goes week in and week out winning series, right? And that's what we're talking about right now. We're talking about who is the number one team right now. And that is Arkansas to me. I don't know who your number one is. I can't pull up our top 25 voting.
My number one was A&M. I had A&M 1, Arkansas 2.
Yes. So, and I think honestly could be one or the other, to be honest, at this point. But when you take a look at Arkansas, and after having a rough start in the SEC, for them to continually stay consistent and play a pretty tough schedule as well in the SEC and be where they're at, I think, the Hogs are number one team today. Could that change tomorrow? Yeah. Yes. And we've seen it change every week. Like, this is not anything new. And if you lose a series, you're not going to be a number one team in the country. I don't care who you are.
All right, so let's do it. Derek asks, 3 spots for losing series at UF. You guys' hatred for OU is crazy. I think Arkansas and all I like Arkansas and all, but OU killed Arky at Arky. That was back when I was sheltering for tornadoes in early March. A lot of things have changed since then. And who are we keeping OU ahead of? The Arkansas team that won the series at LSU and has won against LSU at home and has won 6 straight SEC series. A&M, who just won a series at Tennessee, or Florida State, who just won a series at Virginia Tech to clinch the ACC. I would love to know who we're keeping OU ahead of. I think 4 is extremely fair. I had OU at 3 in my ballot, but I understand why they're at 4. So the arguments are what the arguments are. I had Florida State a little bit lower going into the weekend, and that's kind of why I still had them behind. But I have no issues with the way that we sorted it because that's the way the group saw it, and that's the way the math worked out. Tara, anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, if you lose a series, you're not going to stay in number one. Texas A&M and Arkansas both won their series, so they're going to jump up. And let me tell you, it's funny. I'm looking at some of the comments. If you saw that Oklahoma team in a circle after the game against Florida, I can tell you they know that they've got work to do. They know that they've got work to do, and I think we saw some uncharacteristic errors as well. But again, that team just won the SEC, so we're not saying that Oklahoma isn't a great ball club. They just won the SEC, and you've got to give your props to that. But at the end of the day, we've got either Arkansas or Gray at Texas A&M in that number one spot. And you can see Texas A&M in the RPI is at number one as well.
Roach, does FSU have an opportunity to be number one this season? I'll give you a little spoiler. I had FSU at number one until Virginia Tech beat them on Sunday. I was ready to do it. And then, no. And then they didn't. And then I had to recalibrate, and then they came in at 4 on my ballot because that's how it goes. And I use a little bit of everything, math, etc. So, but I was thinking about it.
You were thinking at Florida State at 1?
I was thinking about it. If they'd swept Virginia Tech at Virginia Tech, I was thinking about it.
Yeah, I hear you. I was watching that game pretty closely because that was a possibility. And that's what's so fun about this is week in and week out, we're getting parity across the country. We're seeing, teams put on great performances, and that's what makes this so fun. And it's all about the discussion. So again, put your questions in the chat. We love to hear them. And that's what this is all about. And I love that there are nearly, 1,200 people on here, 1,100 people on here that want to talk about softball.
Yeah.
That's what makes this so fun to me.
All right, let's get into this. Carol Luca, I like this one. Talk me through Texas Tech and Clemson being in the top 10 over Carolina, despite Carolina having a better RPI resume than both. Series win over Texas Tech, split with Clemson, and a similar record to both. Honestly, for me, I just think right now Texas Tech and Clemson are better than South Carolina. That was kind of it, because I agree, like, there are a lot of profile similarities between those three. I just think right now Texas Tech and Clemson are better. And I say that as somebody who just watched South Carolina win a series against Alabama. But I didn't think South Carolina played all that well, actually, until game 3. So, yeah, that's kind of where my head was.
Yeah, I know that you were there watching it in person, Gray. And I'm kind of along the same lines. I just watched Clemson, and I think South Carolina came off to a really hot start, and they stacked up a ton of wins, and that's why they're so high in the RPI. Huge series win over Alabama. But I do think right now both Texas Tech and Clemson are playing better than the Gamecocks. That's not to say that as we head into the SEC tournament, that's not going to change. But I had both Clemson and Texas Tech above them.
Mark, thanks for not putting you number 1. Greg giving locker room material for Natty Patty. Coach Gasso
does not look at the rankings.
No, should we call her? You can ask her yourself.
I could call her. I can promise you that Coach Gasso doesn't look at the rankings. She's not somebody that is too bothered about those.
Cheyenne is an interesting question. This is more bracket packety, but I will pop it up here. Are we worried about OU in a super regional setting? They've lost 3 of the last 5 SEC series. Probably should have been swept twice. I think OU could not make it OKC if they get the wrong matchup in supers. I think that's possible. I think game 1 will be extremely critical for Oklahoma in a super regional. If they were to lose game 1, presumably with Sam Landry pitching, then I would be pretty worried. But I don't know. OU in the postseason, who am I to be like, nah, they're dead? No, that's insane. Why would I ever say that? So I'm not necessarily worried about OU. I'm not necessarily worried about OU in a super regional until I see them lose game 1. If that were to happen, then I would start to have some concerns.
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting question. And we know, and we've talked about this at length, that I think the Sooners are trying to find the answer behind Sam Landry. Just let me tell you, Sam Landry is elite. When you look at her stuff, when you look at her splits, she is elite. So when you have an elite arm in the circle at any point, it's going to get you through ball games. But in a 3-game setting, I think that's a valid question. And we're going to see what those supers are matched up as. And I think that's something that we're going to look into as we get into the bracket packet. But I love that question and super insightful. And I think it's something that we should all keep an eye on because we've seen, as we just saw against Florida, it's difficult when you see a pitcher that many times in a weekend, the advantage slowly starts to go to the hitter, even with an elite pitcher in the circle.
This one breaks my heart. James, no, I do not hate FSU. I do not hate FSU. Come on, man. No. I got so many friends on that team. Don't do me like that, James. I just talked about Michaela Edenfield for a while. It's my girl. Come on. Here we go. Austin thinks we hate Oklahoma. Okay. Let's see what else we got. Julie, I'm an OU fan and I'm okay with OU moving down. Lowell just saying they didn't play their best ball this weekend and the 3 teams above them won their series. That is reasonable.
Can we bring her on?
Come on.
I'm glad we don't have the chat is popping today.
Yeah, I'm trying to catch up. Brandon. Hey, Brandon, regular listener for the last few years.
Yeah.
I really like Gray's point about when the games are played versus now. I think this is why I laugh at non-conference schedules being so important. When you start is not how you're playing now. I think, look, this has been Tom's point on the pod for years. Like, teams are allowed to get better, and we're allowed to change our evaluation of a team as the season goes on because teams grow, pitchers get better, they develop. I mean, shoot, if we were evaluating Arkansas a few years ago based solely on the Shanice Delce that we saw the first part of the year when she didn't have a drop ball, then how would that be fair to what she became when she added a pitch mid-season? Like, you've got to have some sort of nuance in the way that you evaluate teams.
He's cracking me up.
You're ahead of me on the chat. I'm trying to.
Ranking is not equal to seeding. Thank you, Fang. Top 25 rankings is not the same as seeding for the tournament. Yeah, the chat is popping. I mean, if we would not be going on here, you guys would be seeing this whole. I mean, I don't know if we want it on because there's been some fights here today.
What is happening? Mark is after me. I test eval. Yes, I do watch games, and that impacts how I rate teams. Sorry about it.
So there's a couple more questions. I know we're going to get into an interview. I'm going to preface this. We have an interview with Emiley Kennedy. We taped it earlier. The audio is not ideal. I know that it's not ideal, and that's okay. But I want everybody to just stick with it. There's a little bit of echo when Emily's on, and mine cuts out a little bit. But there's some good stuff that she says here, so just stick with it. And I know I'm going to hear about it. We're going to get a comment on YouTube after about the audio. But there's some good stuff that Emiley says, and I want you all to enjoy it. Are you all right, Gray?
No, my burner is even going after me. Grant Gray. Gray's burner does not condone Gray's hatred of Florida State. Ooh, I like this one from Thomas. Does Softball America believe any of the ranked mid-majors will make a run and get out of regionals?
Ooh.
So that would be like a Grand Canyon, Florida Atlantic. Liberty's just out, but yes, fair point.
Potentially.
I have a hard time seeing FAU because they're probably going to either Gainesville or Florida State, presumably. And I have every other year.
State? What about San Diego State?
Maybe. If they would they go to Arizona, I guess? Probably.
Or UCLA.
I would like their chances better if they were at Arizona.
Really?
I would right now. And I can't see. Here's the other thing. I don't hate Florida State because I'm picking them to go to the World Series, and I have since the start of the year because every other year theory. So if you go to FSU's regional, that's tough because I'm probably thinking FSU's coming out of there no matter what. So Florida, I don't see them losing before Supers. That would be hard. So Grand Canyon's another interesting one because we've seen them get severely underseeded in the past because of the drivability. So that could hurt that case, but I do like that team. Megan Golden's having a great year.
Bo knows FAU has to go to Florida, so he says no.
They have to go to Florida? Okay, well, that's tough.
It's going to be a tough one.
Mark is cracking me up. I'll do my best. It should work. I think we got everybody.
Yeah, I just reminder they can't see the chat. Well, unless they're in it.
Man, y'all are going crazy. Hey, Tara, real quick from Fang, will you confirm that Fang is an Oklahoma fan?
Yeah, who's saying he's not?
I don't know.
Yes, Fang is like the biggest Oklahoma fan, but he's just sensible and uses his brain, right? So and understands the difference between rankings and being a fan and seeing things from. I think this is the problem sometimes with this side. You only see things from where you know and what you see. Like you got blinders on, like a Kentucky Derby. Who won the Kentucky Derby?
Not my pick. My pick came in second. Sovereignty won.
Sovereignty over journalism or something?
Yeah, I had journalism because I'm a journalism major, and I was like, this is it. So and he also was the top odds.
So let's take our blinders off and look at what's happening around the rest of the country, not just on one team. So, but I can confirm, and Fang is incredible and a huge part of our sport and helps our sport grow. And I don't know why anyone would think he doesn't love OU.
It's a whole thing that every fan base deals with. I promise you. If you listen to Out of the Box, we go at the Alabama fan base at times about this as well. To paraphrase the television show Reba, there are millions of stars circling millions of planets, circling millions of suns, circling millions of galaxies, circling one point in the universe. And that one point is not your team. There are a lot of other things around there that are important. Hey, my horse came in second. It's not like I got off the podium, but also true.
All right.
I don't necessarily love my betting advice either. So, with that, should we play Emiley Kennedy? And then after that, we'll talk about conference tournaments.
Yeah, let's do it. Bear with the audio, people.
All right. Everyone, couple issues with it, but Tara's already warned you. Emiley Kennedy's here. Draft pick for the AUSL. Texas A&M ace. All-American. Anything else?
Just all around incredible. She tells us where she goes to eat in College Station. So that's
Ooh, all right. I'm very curious. I was not here for this interview. I can't wait to hear that answer because I too have a list for College Station. So
when Gray isn't here, that's what happens with the audio. So sorry, guys.
I'm leaving for Athens now. Okay, here's Emily Kennedy right now on Good Morning Softball America.
And Tara Henry here, back with none other than the Emily Kennedy, Texas A&M ace. Emily, thank you so much for joining me today on Good Morning Softball America. Can't wait to talk softball.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I want to start with the golden ticket and what an experience that was. Obviously at Davis Diamond, Amanda Scarborough presents that golden ticket to you. What was that like? Can you describe it for our listeners and our viewers?
It was a surreal moment. I always wanted to play pro, and me and Amanda have a really good relationship. So it was really good that she was able to give me the golden ticket and be there for my experience.
And if you would have told yourself 5 years ago that you were going to be in Davis Diamond and receive a golden ticket to potentially play professional softball, number one, what would you have said? And what would you say to yourself from 5 years ago?
I wouldn't believe it. I would think you were crazy, that wouldn't happen. But I think I would just say stay the course. Don't know why you love the sport and continue to work towards your goals, and it will all come to the end.
I love that. And let's shift gears here and talk a little bit about the Aggies this season. Gosh, so impressive. And in terms of strength of schedule, in terms of the pre-conference tournaments that you all played in, and the gauntlet that is the SEC, what has been the main theme for this team this year?
Really just punch first. Coach Ford always says score first and keep scoring often and keep them on their heels at all times. I think we can beat almost anybody when we're playing Aggie softball, and it's really fun to see.
And it's really exciting heading into the SEC tournament. Obviously, you've been a part of the SEC now for a few years. What is this week like? Can you describe it for the fans? Because it is, number one, it's a long tournament, but number two, what does that preparation look like for you?
It's a little bit different because we don't know who we're playing until the night before, so it's a quick turnaround, quick prep, but hopefully we'll get someone new in the SEC and be able to face a new opponent and see what we got against the teams we haven't seen yet. And the week is fun. We get to watch everyone play on the same field, everyone play everybody, and anyone can win it. So it's always entertaining.
Been like for you in the bullpen with Coach Ford in your many years that you've now been with her? What is that relationship like with Coach Ford?
We have a really tight relationship. We can talk about almost anything. She calls me randomly throughout the day just asking me, like, how you're doing, what have you done today, like, what are your thoughts on the weekend? And it's just good to have, like, that person on like that side of pitching to be able to be like, okay, this is what you need to do, this is what you're doing, and how to fix it. So it's good to have a tight relationship with her.
And what has it been like for you, really, the ace of the staff for Texas A&M? How do you take on that role in mentoring the other younger pitchers that are alongside you? Because you've got some help there as well, but what's that role been like for you?
It's been interesting this year. I've been more of a vocal leader. They come to me about their struggles. They're going through bumps and everything that I've gone through. So it's just voicing my process and helping them through theirs. So I'm glad to be able to be the one to help them grow into what they need to be whenever I'm gone.
And you've got such a presence in the circle. Anybody that watches can see that presence. What is that self-talk like for you in the circle? Because I think that's something that young athletes would love to hear about.
I would say that basically just I always go out there and I'm like, I'm gonna beat you. No, I'm not gonna let you beat me, and if you beat me once, you're not gonna beat me again. And just basically I just make it as simple as possible, hit a spot. she coached 4 coast rise in, drop out, throw the rise in, throw the drop out. Make it as simple as you can and don't overthink it.
I love that. It sounds so simple, yet it's so,
Yeah.
so difficult. And also, I think we've got a lot of young athletes that watch this podcast. What does that preparation look like? Like, what does your, game day prep look like for them? Like, how many pitches do you throw? What do you throw? Kind of, do you throw to the same bullpen catcher, or is it the starter of the day? What does that look like for you?
I usually start in the morning. We usually watch film as a staff on like their hitters and what Coach Ford's plan is to attack them. And then once we get to the field, I'll probably warm up with the starting catcher. And I always cycle through my pitches to the same like routine. I always go all arm side, all glove side, and then I cycle twice. And then I take a break and cycle one more time. And then I'm like, all right, we're good.
That's it. Oh my goodness, I love that. Well, one more question, because I know you got to get out to go to practice, and I know you're heading out on your way to Athens. We always ask this: what is your favorite restaurant in College Station to eat at?
Oh, that's a tough one. I would go. There's a place called Coffee Bridge. It's like a burger chicken finger joint, and it's kind of like a hole in the wall College Station staple, so it's always fun to go and see like all the locals, and you get recognized and they love you.
And what's your order from there?
Chicken fingers with a lot of ranch.
Yum! I love chicken fingers.
Yes.
I'm a huge chicken fingers fan. Well, Emily, best of luck this week. We don't know who you're playing, like you said. The bracket has been set, but you're going to have to wait a little bit to see who that opponent is. Best of luck in Athens to you and the rest of the Aggies, and we'll see you this week.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
And that is Emily Kennedy. I have not been to that place.
I love chicken fingers. I know that's like a weird thing to love, but I love chicken fingers.
It's not weird. We all need to unleash our inner child every now and then. Some people are doing that in the chat today.
Oh, I know. I mean, it's popping. But I want to thank Emily Kennedy. Sorry for the sound, guys. Really, my bad. 2 outs. That's what I'm going to say.
Diva down, as they say on the dirt, apparently.
Diva down.
Anything else that you want to say about that series? Because the reason I had A&M number 1, I was really, really impressed by the way Emily Kennedy threw this weekend against a Tennessee team that might have a lefty problem. Something to monitor. We'll see when the postseason rolls in. But I love the way that they came out and responded after the suspension from the game. They had a 5-0 lead, and then the first pitch back, Sophia Nugent hits a home run. And that's where you're like, uh-oh, look at Tennessee. They just reset. A&M won that game 13-2. So I love the response in Game 3. I love the way Emily Kennedy pitched in Game 1. I love the way that they manufactured in Game 1, just kind of found something, and then Coco Woolley had the double to grab the lead. I was really, really impressed by that road series in Knoxville.
Yeah, Coco Woolley and then KK Dement. I've been so impressed with the Aggies and really think Mac Barbara has done a nice job slotting in. And then Maya Perez just all season long really getting it done. And Mac was behind the dish at one point, I think, catching again for the Aggies. So just figuring it out. I know they've suffered some injuries, not only in the circle behind the dish, but I think just a tough team. And any Trisha Ford squad, whether you like it or not, they're going to fight tooth and nail to get a W. And I think that's what makes the Aggies, that gives them that it factor, and a team that you don't want to face. They play the game hard and have been able to get it done week in and week out.
Yeah, I love that. And who will A&M face in the SEC tournament? Well, let's see, because where'd I put it? I've got the bracket right here.
Get it out. We're going to give her that attention, Amanda Scarborough.
That's right.
Scarborough.
KK's been great. A&M's just solid. They just keep winning.
Sorry, the chat. I'm trying to it's going so fast, I can't get the correct ones.
It's true. So A&M is currently the 2 seed, awaiting the winner of South Carolina versus the winner of Alabama Auburn. Again, I'm leaving for Athens very, very shortly. Be there for tomorrow night. Alabama Auburn might be there all day. I'm thinking Tom and I are thinking about just going and setting up camp all day tomorrow and watching all the games. And
Gonna come hang out with me?
Sure, we can do some little
All right.
content. I'm gonna bring like 8 different microphones.
I'll be there. Hey, I've got some Softball America gear. Let's just see if anybody wants any. I don't know if we can do that, but we'll have it at the World Series. But
before we talk about the SEC tournament, this was something that we discussed a little bit on the air on Saturday. The take on Carlin Pickens not appearing in Game 3. I see both sides. At the same time, you've got a top 4 seed locked. Rest her, but also you could have been the 2 seed. Throw her. I don't know. I was mixed on the choice to not throw Pickens. And I do wonder what the pitching plan is for Tennessee, because there's a very high potential that their first 2 games, if they were to play 2 in Athens, are Arkansas and OU. And Carlin Pickens probably cannot throw both of those. So what does that look like? Is it Marjetko or somebody else against Arkansas and then say Pickens for OU? Is it the other way around? How does that go? I'm very curious.
Well, it's interesting. I think at this point in the season, they're really managing your innings, right? When you take a look at your pitching staffing, trying to figure out what is going to get you the best prepared to make a run at a national championship. So let's just be honest with what Tennessee is looking at. They're trying to win a national championship. And at this point in time, you've got to take a look at your pitching staff and see how many innings have been thrown, what your athletes, feeling like. Because again, I said this earlier, these teams are tired right now. This is the part of the season where it gets to be really, really tough. And knowing when to rest is going to be super important as you gear up for postseason.
The chat is killing me. Mark cracks me up. I don't know if Mark likes me or doesn't, but his comments make me cackle. Let's start a GoFundMe for Gray to make the next Alabama-Italy trip. I would love to go. I don't know if or when there'll be international trips. We'll see. I don't know.
Why don't you come to Prague? Everybody here on this chat is invited to Prague for the European Championships this year. So
everybody?
It's in September. Well, they're invited. I mean,
okay.
You're invited. Everyone can go to the tournament in Prague. It'll be beautiful. So if anybody wants to take a overseas tournament, Prague in September, I believe it's September 3rd.
Ooh.
September 3rd or 4th.
Is that opening weekend of football? I might be busy.
I don't know.
Okay, well,
maybe.
We'll get there. Everyone's also invited to Tuscaloosa for AUSL. SEC tournament. Do you have the your bracket thoughts on this? OU the top seed.
Hey, let me get it up.
A&M the 2 seed, Texas the 3 seed, Tennessee the 4 seed. It all starts Tuesday with 12 Georgia, 13 Kentucky, 11 Ole Miss, 14 Missouri, 10 Alabama, 15 Auburn. A couple things at stake. Georgia hosting, trying to buck the trend of teams that host the tournament not playing well, except for Alabama. Alabama's won it twice when hosting. Don't think any other host has won the tournament, and we've seen a lot of hosts go one and done. So Georgia trying to break that trend. And also, there are a lot of teams in the SEC who need Georgia to win because they need that to be a top 25 RPI win for them. Georgia currently sitting at 27. So I can guarantee you LSU, South Carolina, Alabama, Texas A&M, there are a lot of teams in the league who are pulling for the Bulldogs against Kentucky on Tuesday. Ole Miss, Missouri has to win the tournament to make the NCAA tournament, and Auburn, Alabama, it's the Iron Bowl of softball. Like what isn't going to be fun about that? Late at night under the lights, it'll be an awesome time.
I mean, tomorrow, what a jam-packed day it'll be. Tuesday and Wednesday. That's going to be a long day on Wednesday. Knock on wood, weather-wise, I hope we're going to be okay. I think we should be, but we'll keep you guys updated. For tomorrow, Tuesday, with Georgia, Kentucky kicking it off, and then Ole Miss, Mizzou, Alabama, and Auburn. When you look at the top and the bottom of the bracket, Gray, who do you think has an easier path between Oklahoma and Texas A&M? I think Texas A&M.
I think it's A&M. I don't love the matchups for OU. If LSU beats Mississippi State, Or if Mississippi State beats LSU. I don't know. I kind of think for Mississippi State to beat LSU, Chafin's got to throw, which, by the way, fun storyline there, pitching against her former team.
Yeah.
If it's OU LSU, that feels LSU can beat anybody and also get smacked by anybody, so it's up in the air. And then if they play Arkansas, that's our number one team as a collective grouping, and they swept Arkansas months ago, and Arkansas has been thinking about that, and it would be very full circle since that was kind of a turning point in their season for them to get another shot at Oklahoma in the semis of the SEC tournament. I think A&M, whether it's South Carolina, Alabama, or Auburn, I think a rested Emiley Kennedy is a tough matchup for all those teams. And then I think I kind of like Florida to beat Texas, and then you would get Florida, who's had to play 2 games. So I just think the path kind of sets up for A&M to make it to the title a little bit easier than Oklahoma.
I mean, looking at the bracket, I know we've got so many comments. It's just going to be tough. Texas is going to have to play, like you said, the winner of Florida or Ole Miss Mizzou. That's going to be a tough game. And then the Texas against that winner, and then to come on. And Texas A&M's got to beat either South Carolina or Alabama Auburn. When you take a look at the bracket, it's just, who knows what's going to happen. I think we're going to have a big surprise at the end of the week on what we see throughout this tournament. But again, it's Monday and it starts tomorrow. How fun is this? We get softball all week long. This is just incredible. We get to watch it.
I know. It's so exciting. I'm so intrigued in some of these matchups. Like, I think the South Carolina Alabama potential rematch is really fun. We had a comment earlier from Carol Luca. Sam Gress was really, really good in game 2. Game 1 was very shaky. Game 3 was all not that great. So Neely Lamb did throw well in game 3. I don't really know what South Carolina's plan will be in the circle. Alabama's will be very dependent on what happens against Auburn should they win. But I love that matchup. That excites me. How does desperate Missouri play? Like, they have to win this tournament. What does that do to their stock? I think they beat Ole Miss, and then Florida's a really, really brutal second round matchup to have. Florida being as good as they are in the 6th seed in this tournament just shows the depth of the conference. It's going to be a ton of fun this weekend. And if you're coming to town, be there the whole time. It's going to be a blast.
Yeah, it's just Florida is the 6th seed. Isn't that just wild that that's the SEC at this point? Florida's the 6th seed. Arkansas is the 5th seed. Just shows you, again, beginning of conference play, how much that impacts the end of the SEC play. This is going to be so fun. All right, SEC tournament. I know we've stayed on this one a while. Anything else?
Let's go to the Big Ten tournament. Let's pull up that bracket. I'll do a little reading for you. Top seed is Oregon, 2 seed UCLA, 3 seed Nebraska, 4 seed Ohio State. Games start on Wednesday with Iowa, Penn State, Washington, Indiana, Wisconsin, Michigan, Northwestern, Purdue. The tournament is at Purdue. Sydney Supley will be there in coverage on the Big Ten Network, and hopefully a little Softball America stuff too, although I know her schedule is insanely packed. I want to really quickly isolate Iowa. I love their first round matchup against Penn State. I think Iowa will win that. And then against Nebraska, sometimes things have gotten a little shaky for the Huskers. And Iowa's even, won a game against Nebraska earlier this year in the Big Ten tournament. I just think when I look at that list and I'm trying to find somebody to make a run outside of maybe an Oregon or UCLA, Iowa kind of jumps off the page to me. Even though they haven't played amazing the last few weeks, I just kind of like that route.
Yeah, and also Washington, right? Gray, I don't think you can ever count out the Washington Huskies. I think you've got a staff and a team that could potentially get through Indiana and then give Nebraska or UCLA a run for the money. This bracket goes like this. I don't know if everybody's looking at this bracket. We should have put these up. Sorry, you guys. Yeah. But Indiana goes Indiana, Washington will come in and play UCLA, who they had some success over earlier. And then, like you said, Iowa and Nebraska. But again, I think we're going to see UCLA and Oregon in that final, but we could potentially see a Nebraska-Ohio State final.
Can we just really quickly get excited about the potential of an Oregon-Ohio State semi? I mean, what in the Rose Bowl is going on here? That's going to be so fun.
The Rose Bowl. Have you been to the Rose Bowl?
I went for the Auburn-Florida State National Championship back in 2014. That's the only time I've been to the Rose Bowl.
It's incredible. I mean, those that haven't been to the Rose Bowl, you should go out to the Rose Bowl. What a venue. I was lucky enough to obviously go to a few games there. But again, in terms of the Big Ten tournament, and we just had Kate Drohan on here, a Northwestern squad that, again, you can't count out. I think they know how to win, and they know how to win late in a postseason. So I could see the Wildcats getting through Ohio State. And then we're going to see potentially an Oregon Northwestern semi. And Michigan, I don't know. Again, when you take a look at these tournaments, we don't know what's going to happen, but what a fun week as well, starting Wednesday.
Graham, my burner is cracking me up. I love the Michigan-Wisconsin. A lot of bubbly implications. Wednesday, day one, is going to tell us a lot about the bubble in the Big Ten. So very, very important because Northwestern, you're exactly right. They've done a lot of good work to get where they are. Don't lose that game to Purdue. Purdue is outside the top 50. I think Northwestern should be fine, but you got to cap off that UCLA series with at least one win. That feels like something I'm confident in. All right, we got two more major Power 4 tournament brackets to get to. Do you want to go Big 12 or ACC?
Let's go ACC first. I just got to bring it up.
All right.
Well, we can go whatever one you want.
Let's go ACC. Let's go ACC because not everybody makes it. They're going to Boston, going up to BC, which will be a blast. Here's the schedule. So day one, the classic ACC rivalry to start it of Georgia Tech Cal, then Stanford Pitt. Shout out to Pitt making it in the 12 spot. Don't mess around with Pitt. All they do is ruin seasons. Virginia, Louisville, North Carolina, and Notre Dame. And then you've got Florida State, Duke, Clemson, Virginia Tech as the 1, 4, 2, and 3 waiting in the wings. If I'm Stanford, I would be nervous playing Pitt just because they seem to rise up in some of these big moments, and they have found ways to really hamper the profiles of some of these teams who want to be a seed. I know Stanford can't host, but they can be a seed. That will not happen if they lose to Pitt.
Yeah, I agree with you, Gray. And also when you talk about, I've watched a lot of Georgia Tech this season. Not quite sure what you're going to get with the Yellow Jackets, but they have the potential to give Cal some issues there too, and then jump in and play Florida State. It's just Pitt, Georgia Tech. When you take a look at Virginia, Louisville, North Carolina, Notre Dame, out of those top 4 seeds, you've got Florida State at the top, Virginia Tech at the bottom. Do you think we're going to get a Florida State, Virginia Tech final? For some reason, I don't think we are.
I don't think so. I think Clemson is the team to watch here.
Same. I think Clemson's, they had the week off. They just swept Georgia Tech and then had the week off. They're going to be rested. I wouldn't be surprised if we see those Clemson Tigers come out with a championship here. I think they're going to have a good week up in Boston.
Yeah. And also I saw somebody say stinks at Boston College isn't in the tournament. I do have something to say about the chat. But shout out to Jordan Stevens, who's been a good friend, started her career at Alabama, transferred to Boston College. Stanford did not want to pitch to her. And that was really, really cool to see for somebody who has grown so much throughout her career and became such a weapon for Boston College, especially this weekend. Like Jordan had Stanford and not. So even though she's not playing another game this year, wanted to give Jordan her flowers publicly. She had a great senior season and can't wait to see her this summer. We're going to be respectful in the chat. And if you say something rude or gross or nasty to somebody, you're going to be put in timeout. There's an option that says put this user in timeout. So somebody's in timeout for saying what they said. And I'm just asking for people to be civil and human to others in the chat. Okay. There we go.
Gray's putting people in timeout. I'm just laughing. Hey,
I'm all for people getting crazy, but don't be weird and creepy. That's all I ask. So,
oh my goodness. All right.
That's
so
it.
That's the ACC.
All right, let me go to the Big 12 now, where they will be playing in OKC, which is always a fun time. Everybody needs a little action at Devon Park. And this tournament kind of feels like it's Texas Tech and everybody else, but matchups are always an important thing to watch. And I think, again, with Texas Tech, very similar to, who were we talking about? Tennessee. The pitching plan with Nyjah Kennedy is going to tell the story about how far Texas Tech goes in this event. They're sitting there waiting for the winner of Baylor, Kansas. And when does Nyjah throw? It'll be interesting.
I'm trying to pull up the bracket here. My cheeks hurt from laughing this podcast. It's Texas Tech. And I think, again, we talked about Nyjah Kennedy from the beginning of the season to now. You'd have to say that bringing Nyjah Kennedy to Texas Tech for them to then win their first Big 12 title, right, in Texas Tech history.
Yeah.
That in itself, that's a huge return on your investment for those that are noting it. But when you take a look at the Big 12, my biggest question mark is like, what Oklahoma State team are we going to see? And do they have the ability to make that run? I think they do. They've got players that have been there before. What squad is going to show up? So for me, that is my biggest question mark heading into that tournament is what Cowgirl squad are we going to get?
Yeah. And again, Texas Tech waiting for Baylor, Kansas. Baylor is kind of enigma-y. They've had a couple moments of brilliance, and I'm cool with that. I would also love to send a shout out to Coach Pink and Iowa State, the 3 seed in this event. That's awesome. They're going to have to go on a run if they want to make the NCAA tournament, but a lot of cred to the Cyclones for what they did. And yeah, Oklahoma State, Arizona State might be the best game of the first 2 days. And Oklahoma State, they're barely in the packet, like barely hanging on. You want to host a regional, you probably need to win 2 and get some help would be what I'm thinking. Texas Tech, I think they're in right now to host a regional, but don't lose to Baylor or Kansas. And if you were to lose that game, then it would get a little wonky.
Yeah, we'll have a bracket packet show this week, you guys. So save your questions about who's going to be where and who's going to be hosting. But again, I think that's Texas Tech at this point. I can't imagine them not hosting, but that could also change.
All right, we do have a couple super chats I want to flash before we say goodbye. Kayla, thank you for your time. Tara and Gray, do you think the SEC will go to a 12-team tournament at some point like the ACC? I do not. I think that as long as baseball has everybody more or less getting in, softball is going to have more or less everybody getting in. They did the thing a couple years ago in the SEC where the one team was out and they just did 12 and had somebody chilling at home waiting to make the tournament or not. And I just don't see a world where the coaches vote to backtrack that because they don't want to be the team that gets left out. So again, it's up to the coaches. I would be shocked if they ever shortened it.
I also don't like that not every team goes to the conference tournament.
Right. The teams that actually need the conference tournament sometimes are the ones who end up not qualifying for it.
And it's also about the experience here. Like, I know we talk a lot about wins and losses, Gray, but for me, that's also a part of it too. Bringing your club to a tournament and having them see their friends that they played with in club ball and being a part of that conference. I don't love that about some of the tournaments. I wish every team win and have a playing game and make them get there the day before. But yeah, I don't really love that. I think all teams should go to the conference tournament. That's just my personal opinion.
Xavier, thank you for the maintaining the civility and your
Thanks,
focus. James, what's up? I think we're back.
Thanks,
Can't help it. I don't like
James.
timeouts. I love all y'all. Just asking for people to be, good to others.
There is a function. Like, Gray's going to put you in timeout. I didn't know we had a timeout function.
I think it's just for this show,
behave.
but I'm just asking. Let's see. Yeah, see, even I think Marin brings up an excellent point. Like, Michigan State's season is over, and they just played some of their best softball of the year right at the very end, and then it's done. It stinks a little bit, you know. You kind of wish that you could see some of these teams who are truly desperate, like a Missouri, where they have to win the tournament to make the NCAAs, try and do that when they're actually playing pretty good softball.
I agree. I just, they should talk to each other about that. They should vote on that.
Let's all communicate. It'd be fun.
There's a lot of things that they need to vote on, especially the rules committee. I mean, we bring it up every year. Safety base. I'm saying it every single show. Get a safety base already.
Get a safety base. What are we even doing?
It's not that difficult. It's even just a peg. It's not even that expensive. I think we could actually raise some money if anybody didn't want to get the actual double bag. I think, what was it, $250, Gray? We looked it up.
Yeah.
It's like $250, $300 for the white and orange bag. And then you've got to obviously put another plug-in into the field. So I don't know. Maybe we need to start a campaign for safety bases. I don't know.
Yeah, again, wow. Roach, good point. Boston College, another one. They weren't going to make the tournament, but they played well. They're hosting.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. This is, maybe we should just figure this out. And intentional walk. Grant, your burner, he's on it today.
My guy.
Yeah.
Shout out to Grant Gray. Yeah,
thanks. Says,
give Patty a call.
Well, Patty's now international, so she's going to see that safety base. So I'll have a chat with her.
Y'all are international cohorts now.
Yeah, I'll have a chat with her.
Okay, do we have anything else? Anything else at all? We covered the mid-major tournaments are going to be a lot of fun. Sunbelt's one to watch. I think we're watching for bid stealers in the American and Conference USA as well. This is the best time of year, and it really kind of all starts tomorrow. There's one game today out west. I believe it's LMU and Oregon State. And otherwise, everything starts tomorrow, which is really exciting. And we'll have bracket packet shows throughout the week at some point.
Yeah, live from Athens, Georgia. We're going to call Tony Baldwin and see if we can, we'll call Sean and see if he can hook us up and we can do a live show from the tournament.
That'd be cool. I would love to. I just want to see the new facility. I've seen the drone footage, like I said earlier. I want to walk around and see it.
You haven't seen the facility? It's beautiful. Oh my goodness.
Not in person.
Oof. Well, tomorrow you're going to see it. It is fantastic what they've done there, and just the indoor, the locker room, I don't even know what you call it, just the meeting room downstairs, and then film. It's incredible.
A couple other programming.
Mia Scott? Oh my gosh! I can't believe this. Mia Scott, literally at the top of my page. Go ahead.
All right, my bad for missing this. Go ahead, talk about Mia Scott.
She's played every single position against Kentucky. I saw the replay of her strike she threw in the circle, and hats off to Texas and Mia Scott. What an athlete, and incredible. I have it at the top of my paper, Mia Scott, then underlined like 5 times just not to forget it, because I knew that wasn't on the rundown.
Yeah,
Great.
It was cool. I loved how they came on the air, and I think it was Eric Freed maybe was calling the game, and he said, all right, we got to see if she can throw a strike. First pitch strike. I was like, all right, Mia, here we go now.
Athlete. That is a pure athlete. That's incredible. That was so fun. I'm trying to think of anything else I've written down that we may have forgotten. I think we're good.
I'm good. All right, a couple programming reminders. I saw somebody, aka my burner, ask if there was a dirt this week. I feel like no, because we'll see. Again, it kind of depends on the SEC tournament. Like if Alabama wins Tuesday, then they'll be playing the late game Wednesday, which would be dirt time, and that's just not. And we're at a conference tournament where things are going to get delayed, and there is weather in the area Wednesday, kind of in the middle of the day, so we'll see. But other pods, I'm not 100% sure. It'll probably also be hard for everyone to do their conference pods since everyone will be playing. So if they do I think Nicole's at Big 12 and Sydney's at Big 10 and I'm at SEC. So we're going to do our best, but weekly programming is going to be a little jumbled this year, mainly with bracket packets coming up and probably a couple reaction shows as well. Right, Tara?
We will have a reaction show, and just stay tuned this week. We're probably going to have some weather, so we might go live randomly. We'll let you guys know. Gray and I will both be in Athens. And then next week, I think we're going to have a special show for you all at the On3 studios. Gray and I will be live doing this show in Nashville to break down all of the bracket with each and every one of you. So that should be pretty fun.
Oh, yes. This will be a bracket reaction show where we are going to react to the bracket, but also bring on players and coaches from around the country. We're going to hit as many regionals as possible, many seeds, as many at-larges, as many mid-major conference champions, as many bubble teams, everybody we can find. We're going to do it, and I believe, Tara, we have decided 11 a.m. Eastern is going to be the start time on that show Monday morning.
I believe we've decided that.
Yes. That's what I'm watching the show in Tuscaloosa and then swoop right up to Nashville.
Yeah. It'll be a long show, right? 11 to
It'll be at least 2 hours.
Yeah.
Last year I think we went 2.5.
Yeah. It'll be a long show. So be ready for next week. It's going to be a fun one.
Yeah. So lots to do. We would like to thank our guests, Emiley Kennedy, Kate Drohan. It's going to be awesome. This week, postseason again starts tomorrow, and then it just runs all the way to June. What a time to be alive. This is the best.
And don't forget, Greg can put you in timeout. That's my takeaway from today.
They called me dad freshman year. I'm not afraid to do it. I'm known in many of my college friends' contacts as Dad Robertson, so I'll do it.
Oh, man. Yeah. So we'll be in Nashville next week. Just want to thank everybody for joining us. The chat was lively today. I love it. I know we had some timeouts, but for the most part, gosh, just love that each and every one of you joins us each week and we can have a chat and have a discussion about softball. How cool is that? Like, my heart is just so full. And I can't thank you all for being here and joining us.
Yes. Thanks, also Ray. Full. My bracket bucket. Let's go.
Oh, bracket. Oh, bracket.
My bracket bucket. My bucket is full of brackets because I'm writing out one for all the tournaments as a prediction.
I thought you were going to say bracket packet.
No, the bracket packet will also be full, and we'll have that later on this week. So thank you, everybody in the chat. Thank you to our guests. Thank you to our viewers. We love all of you. Happy postseason. Cheers to all of you. Cheers to us. Cheers to softball.
Happy tournament week. And Miles is having a grand old time down here. So just thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week.
That's right.
We'll see you this week.
We'll see you soon. For Tara, I'm Gray. Thanks for joining us on Good Morning Softball America. We'll see you next time.